when it comes to family business, I always feel like, and this is just me. A lot of people do things differently, blah blah blah. But I feel like private family business should stay private. You don't. I don't. You don't really, from me, talk about if you hear you don't talk about my family. We're not dysfunctional. Don't get me wrong. We're not dysfunctional at all. But at the same time, if we're going through stuff, we handle it with the family. We don't handle it on. We at least try to keep our stuff off of Facebook. And besides, like anything like we have troubles with, it's really minuscule. It doesn't really deserve to be on. So I've always been raised like that. My father is a very private person. He's like, and my family is like we take notes of that. With that being said, we're gonna be talking about Kirk Franklin and his family. First things first, I want to put this on. It is really none of anybody's business, but because the son put it out on public and put it out in public, obviously we're going to discuss it in public. Yes, it's none of our business, but at the same time, it's like I feel like, and I will get into this later, I feel like you wanted some attention from this because this ain't the first time, from what I've seen, this ain't the first time that he done tried to expose his father for like being the devil that he is. His words, not mine. I don't know Kirk Franklin from a grain of salt. You just know him from what you see on TV. Now, let's start with the first thing. Okay, I do not feel like as far as the video goes, does it make Kirk Franklin look bad? Yes, it does make him look bad, but the only reason it look bad is because the son was recording, and like we don't have most people do not have the backstory, nor we don't know how that conversation started. All right, because when you see it comes in, and like Kirk Franklin, which a lot of people say, brother, we turn from Kirk Franklin to Plies. Now, do I agree with the way Kirk Franklin done curse out? I don't. I've always said this. I've made my now, like I said, my family's not dysfunctional, but there's times where I've like made my father curse at me because I was a hard headed child. That's on me though. It's like but that's on me and that's on my mistakes. Like any other, like my father never got around with this chip on his shoulder or like this whole thing. My father raised six great kids, none of us in jail, none of all that stuff. All right. None of us on drugs, none of us strung out. We're all living happy and healthy. To this day, my father, to me, I will. If you ask me about my father, I tell you he's one of the greatest men ever, and that's me bigging up my father, and I will and that will always be mine. Even if I do something wrong or like we get into arguments, he is still one of the greatest men I've ever met in my life. So, with that being said, I don't know. Now there is backstory with Kirk Franklin and his son. I think his name is Carry On. Now, if you want, I'm not going to get into that, but if you really want to know the backstory, go visit Lovely T's channel. I will put her video in the description box. She breaks it down. Like, she breaks it down. And, like, so I know some of the backstory, but I'd rather you go to her and get it and then rather me because I will fucking paraphrase and fuck up shit. She actually got the tea. But from taking it from the video, first things first, I do not agree with. I can understand like parents getting mad at their children. Like, my sister sometimes get. That's why I feel like a two stable home because sometimes one parent does get mad and the other parent is there to calm them down. That's why I feel like that's another reason why I think a two parent household because there's always a good cop and a bad cop. And like one, as always in my two parent, when I was growing up in a two parent home, someone was always pissed and someone was always. But when both of them are pissed, you're fucked. All right, like when you piss off both of them, you are fucked. It is you got to take your L as a child. But I do not agree with like cussing your child out like a grown ass man. Now be mindful, he's 33. So he is a grown ass man. The thing is, if he was a child, And now people say, I don't care if he's a child or not. If he was a child, I would have had a problem with it. Because I don't feel like you should be cursing like that to your child. Now, if you're a grown man, and let's be honest, some kids are just fuck ups. Some like you've seen it. You probably seen families where they're either the rebel or the fuck up. Now I'm excluding the people that was LGBT because you don't because if your parents curse you out because you're LGBT, you don't deserve that. Honestly, you don't deserve it. But these are the people who's just like, they're rebels or, everything that their father do, they go against it and all that other stuff. Or you're just the fuck up of the family. It's like, there are times where your father does curse you out. It's just like, especially like they try to raise you the best way they can and all that other stuff. I also don't, I've heard stories like, then not even like from an LGBT side, but from the straight side where like, the father is just like cursing his kid out like a fucking grown man for no reason, or is like the kid has a problem and the father's like, "Oh, you got to man up, quit being a little bitch and then man up." You shouldn't. And I've even heard it from like black mothers when the way they talk to their daughters, like, "I know you ain't going out here being like a hoe. Up there sucking dick like some type of slut and all that other stuff." I do not agree with cursing at your child, especially when they're young. All right. Have I been cursed at? Yeah, but then again, I wasn't that big of a fuck up either. I fucked up a lot, but not to the point to where it's just like it excluded me from my family, where I'm the black sheep. No, but for the people that their father cursed them out, I always say your father was an asshole, and then you got to admit that your father is an asshole. And some people do that. It's like, I know people's like, but that's your father, you love it. It's like, and that's true, but you also gotta tell. And I tell people, yeah, that's true, but it doesn't exclude the fact that your father is an asshole. It's like, yes, he tried to raise you the best way he can, but there are some things. It's like, I understand parents are not perfect, and sometimes they try to work on it. It's like parenting is not perfect. I done seen it. I done seen it. It's like, if I have a child, I know I'm gonna make some mistakes where I think it's right, but it's not. Parenting is perfect. Parenting is not perfect. So let's get that point to us. Second of all, with the Kirk Franklin and Carry On, it looks bad on Kirk Franklin because you don't know what the conversation was beforehand. Like, he could have cursed them out, and like LovelyTi said this too, but I've also had this opinion before. Like, I even clicked on a video. Like, he could have cursed them out. He could have said some shit. Matter of fact, in the video where he was talking about he's going to break his foot off when Kirk Franklin said he was going to break his foot off his son's ass, his son said, "I dare you. I dare you." And then that angered him more. So it's just like, now the way you look at that, depending on how you was raised, it's just like some people's just like, oh, like, act like you never been cursed out by your father before. And, especially like men, it's like, you act like y'all never been cursed out by your father. So most of black, this is mixed, because most of black Twitter is just like, the ones that feel like, like their parents never loved them or something like that, they'll talk about the abuse and the trauma and shit. But the most people that, went through their parents cursing out, it's just like, nigga, this shit normal. You complaining about this? I don't know how many times my mother and father talking about breaking foot off your ass. And like, and myself included, but half of the shit I was, like I said, I wasn't a big fuck up, but there's times where I did fuck up, and it's just like, it was a point where I was fucking up so much, and this is just a short story, that I used to get on punishment, and I never cried. You know how people just cry? It's like, oh man, it's like, I fucked up, I take the punishment, all right. It's like I'll be on punishment for a week or like a month, or just I'll be on punishment so long that my parents forget that I'm on punishment. There's times where it's just like, my mom was just like, "You don't go nowhere. I'm on punishment, ma." And she go, "Oh, well, get out the house." It's like, all right. like I said, I wasn't a big fuck up, but I've had my fuck up moments, and I'm pretty sure every kid has had their fuck up moments. So, with that being said, in that, Carry On also like agitating them. Yeah, to me, I know a lot of people gonna look at it. It's like, I dare. He told him, "I dare you." So it's just like, oh, you challenging me. Now, this is the part where I feel like some people will understand and some people will not. Every boy every boy or every child challenges their parents. There's healthy ways of doing it and there are unhealthy ways of doing it. Obviously, the unhealthy ways usually come to fisticuffs or blows or like the parents kicking their kids out because you think you grown. I don't feel like now you like if you kick your kid out before 18 or some shit like that. Obviously CPS coming at your ass, but some people been kicked out the house before 16 had to live on themselves, like had to live on their own for like till they were 16, obviously. Um, but every kid challenges their parents. I know my older brother done challenge my father, and like he done, and like he got dealt with. Now, have I challenged my father? Yes. Then this is what I mean by healthy ways and unhealthy ways. Because me and my father is like not only is my father, I do look at him as my best friend, but he's my father first, and I want that to be made sure. Like he is my father first, so I do give him the respect. Obviously, I think you're hearing it. But how do I challenge him? I challenge him in games. There's like games like chess and ping pong. To this day, I have not beaten my father in neither of them. My father is a beast in ping pong. He done whipped my ass in ping pong so many times. It's fucking ridiculous. And I told him on your deathbed, if you're dying, I'm gonna pull up a ping pong table and we're gonna challenge you. I'm gonna turn that into a skit one day. And he said, all right, I'm gonna still whoop your ass. And that's to me, that's a healthy way of challenging your father. My father is the reason why I know how to play chess. And like I said, my father beats my ass in chess. I have never like beaten him in chess. And to this day, it's just like those are the two things I want to. To me, that's challenging them in a healthy way. All right, it's just like you want to. There's one of the person's like you respect them, but you want to beat them in something, like basketball or any other sport, or hell, even some video games. I know, like I said, those are healthy ways, and then there's a unhealthy way. So the unhealthy way is like getting into fisticuffs or like kicking your child out. I feel like that's an unhealthy way of like challenging an authority. Now, and then the healthy way is just like do it in sports, do it in like hell, even in good good debates that doesn't get into fights, like your beliefs and his belief. How I feel like the way you raise your child is like I know your style work, but I want to try it this time. Hell, my father, like when we talk about sports, half of the times he's right. And then I'll go up to him and just like, yeah, you're right. And my father be like, I'm a guru and all that other stuff. So there are healthy ways and there are unhealthy ways of change. Now, I hope I explained that the best way. Now, was the way that Kirk Franklin, his son, was that unhealthy? Yes, it is unhealthy. And even Kirk Franklin realized this. And I want everybody to understand when you're mad, you want to say whatever it is that's on your fucking mind. The filter is off. Uh, and this I've even seen this with parents. The filter is off. You see the real anger and you see the real vitriol, and it's like, and sometimes depending on who he is, either you push it to him or he's always been like that. Kirk Franklin, maybe he's always been like that, but at the same time, he said after I was done, I talked to a therapist because obviously they've had family problems, and this is where I feel like now. I felt like Kirk Franklin, did he have to address this? No, but I guess he had to save some face because his son put that out there and it made him look bad. 50-50 really. Because some people is like I said, some people, they'll go back to their trauma and all that other stuff. There's people that go back to emotional trauma. And my boy father, he said this. Now people going to talk about the black Christians and all that other stuff and like how like it brings up a lot of shit that we really like. I will say it needs to be discussed, but at the same time, not in public. Like if you have, I do feel like if you have this type of trauma, which you do have to discuss it. And let's be honest, a lot of old people are stuck in their ways. Some of the things that they can do can't really do it anymore. And some of the things that they've done is probably not suitable for your child. There's probably different ways of like. There's a lot of suitable with. I tell people all the time, I got a lot of beatings and I got a lot of whippings. I deserved them because, like I said, I wasn't a big fuck up, but I was a fuck up. But I've also said whippings don't work. And the reason why I said whippings don't work, and this is my opinion, because I still was doing shit. And if anything, I was trying to do it without getting caught. So every time I got caught, I was like, that's why, like, most of the time when I was on punishment or I did what I did, I just took the L because I got caught. And I know that, sometimes this shit happens, so you just gotta take the L and eat it. Overall, this is like this is really no one's business. But since it's out there, like, this also brings up a lot of trauma, I think, in the black community with their parents. And this is why I'm always like, now I understand like he's from another parent and all that other stuff, but it also shows you that parenting isn't perfect. And it also shows you that sometimes things don't go your way. And then sometimes you're going to look bad at things. But I do feel like if you have family problems with your family, you have to address it. But please do not. But please, and I say this, please keep it off social media because Kirk Franklin shouldn't be going through shit like this. Now, now he's got to go and answer questions about his son that he probably don't even want to answer. Now he has a right not to answer, but at the same time, he has to give his side of the story too. Now, like I said, if you want the full details of what's the backstory and all that other stuff, go to LovelyTi's page. Like I said, I will leave a link in the description of this box, and I will probably put it in the comment section too. Go to her. She breaks it down beautifully, and she gives you all the tea, and she gives you her opinion. So, I'm actually I had to stop. Honestly, I had to stop it before, like I end up saying the same shit she says. Now we might be similar in the stuff that we say, but I had to stop myself. It's just like when she gave her opinion, I had to stop myself, do this video, and then now when I'm done, I'm going back to finish that video. So let me know what y'all think. How do y'all feel about parenting in the black community? How do y'all feel about the way like how was y'all treated? Was y'all similar to Kirk Franklin in his situation, or do you feel like um do you feel like that shit is just overreacting? It should be stuck with the family. Till then, my name is Eskino Fly, and I'm out. Peace.